The views shared on this podcast are personal opinions for conversation and insight only. Guest perspectives are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of Kalaj Dame or this podcast. Nothing discussed here should be taken as legal, financial, medical, or professional advice. Always do your own research and make decisions based on your individual situation. So I imagine when I read that message from you, I imagine there's just random people that are like all across America, almost like, I don't know, like running from slavery.
It's like, yeah, it's like the underground
honestly,
rock railroad.
Honestly, low-key, that's exactly what it is. Just like,
I'm afraid of extra scrutiny on samples. We once were in talks with Netflix to use our music, and I don't know why I said this, but I was like, hey, just show you FYI, these will have a lot of samples, and like it is what it is essentially. And they ignored me from that point. And I told myself I'll never say anything about it again. Like, use it, and we'll deal with the problem later.
And you have like a grasp of what you are musically, what you want musically, and how you're going to get there. Mm-hmm. I think that those three components, any combination of those three components is what most of the average local hip-hop artists are missing.
I would agree with that.
I agree with that.
We just shine a light where they hide the gray. It's the Kalaj Dame podcast.
I guess you guys definitely need a formal introduction. So just in general, the little bit that I know from the little bit you've sent me, first, like my introduction was just hearing your name all over the city, right? From, I want to say maybe Choreo had posted something at some point in time, maybe Cynic Lethal, whole bunch of different rappers, producers, BBGuns, like the illest MCs group. I think there was an award show at one point in time, and everybody's telling me, oh, vote for BBGuns, they're the best. And at the time, I never heard anything. I'd never heard any music, and I checked some of it out eventually, and it just gave me a vibe of like, they're super ill, but like in their own world. Like,
that's kind of it. That's it, honestly.
And I understood what everyone was saying. Like, I don't know. I don't even know how to put it into words. It gave me a vibe of almost like I want to say almost like a Beastie Boys meets a little bit of, not necessarily like a Kendrick Lamar, but like how he comes on like the odd-ish beats that are like not industry standard.
Yeah.
But we
love both of them.
Yeah, it's like you're in your own lane, not just musically, not just what you sound like, but even watching your videos. It's completely unique. And from the bio you sent me, I mean, you guys have toured everywhere. You've opened up for major artists. You've done all these amazing things. And I would say just me, like knowing what I know about Pittsburgh hip hop, arguably the best MC group. I would say outside of like grown folks now.
Yeah, they're killing it right now.
Yeah, they're great.
Which, I mean, we don't have that many, but when the name pops up, you guys are usually at the top.
Yeah.
Well, hey, appreciate it. That's the goal. That's the goal. Be as good and go as far with it as you can.
Yeah.
Doing our own thing, but doing it at a high level is definitely like what we strive to do for sure.
Nice. When did you guys start?
Like together, or just like musically in general?
It's kind of gradually happened.
Okay, give me the story of like individual and then the Voltron forming. How does that work?
Well, we come from the same neck of the woods. We went to high school together. He's a year older than I am, so he graduated a little bit before me, but we became friends. He saw me walking down the road, like listening to music, doing my thing, and so then
he was rapping, like walking down the street, listening to something in his headphones.
Yeah, dork like that.
And I just got into it, like hip hop, like trying to rap. I sang in high school, but
what school?
We went to Highlands High School, so it was near New Kent, Trenton
Yeah,
area.
I went to Valley. We played y'all.
Oh,
Okay, then all right, then you know
all
what it is.
right.
All right,
You know
great.
where we're from. We're from the same area.
Yeah.
He lives in New Kent now, so
okay.
so and my family's still out the way. I'm always there. But yeah. So we knew each other. We were cool with each other in high school, but it was after high school we became friends over hip hop, like because we were just really into the mixtape era and like Wiz and Mac. I think having something happen so close to home made it feel like something was happening, and we're like getting to be we're trying to be a part of something, and that was before. And then we started going into the city and doing shows, and like trying to figure out how to record, but we were doing everything separately. And then at a certain point, or we would hype man for each other was like the next step. And then someone said that you guys should just perform together. And I think we did a show, it was like TJ Harris threw like a prom show, and there's a bunch of rappers on it. And we asked him to go back to back so we could just hype for each other. And we had a couple songs together, and people like thought it was one act. And it was like, that was when we were like, we're just going to do this. We're better together than we are separate.
Wow. That is dope. You know about like what year that was?
So our first album together is like mixtape together is 2016. So I want to say that was probably like 2015 or 2014 at the earliest.
What was that? I think that's like the year I retired. I'm pretty sure.
It was whenever James Street was still around, however long ago that was.
And we did like
East Ohio Street.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And we did like the King of the Bergs, like the first wave. Didn't you have like something in the prize pack? Or I thought your name was involved in that.
Yeah, I think
that's when I remember. I was like, that name I remember from something.
I'm pretty sure the winner of that was supposed to get a beat from me or something.
Yep, I think that's what it is.
Time or something.
Yeah, we got like a second place once, I think, or third. Was it tied for?
We were tied
for third is what we would have.
Did Corey win?
He
that one.
Did he win one?
I think he did win one.
I feel like whichever one I was in on, like I offered a beat, Corey won and then came and picked the beats. I just interviewed him recently.
Oh, okay.
And he came on and I basically had to take my beats back. Like, bro, did you ever use that?
Okay, yeah, it happens. It happens. We got a big beat trove right now, and I have to like talk to each guy. Like, we have a lot of beats. I'll let you know if it doesn't get. I'll try to communicate if it doesn't get used, so like you can take it back, or if someone else wants it. Because I know how it is, man. You give a beat, it can sit for years, and you're like, someone might want to use that, or I can sell that to somebody.
My thing is always, well, now at least with beats, because I'm retired, it's like I don't want my art just collecting dust. And it's like if you don't want to use it, let me fucking write a song and put my kid on it or some AI shit or something, like, just get it out there. Especially because he picked one of my favorite tracks, which I guess he has a process for how he picks out beats where he kind of be like, whatever you play for him, he's like, no, I don't like that. And then he tries to get you to like boast your ego and then play your hottest track. And he's like, yeah, give me that.
Wow, I never knew that.
Little Jedi mind trick.
Yeah, a little reverse psychology. Wow, Corey's the OG. I feel like he kind of introduced us to a lot of people in the city for sure.
Nice. Yeah, he and I went to school together.
Wow.
Shinley. I spent part-time at Shinley, part-time at Valley.
Gotcha.
So you guys, let's just kind of take a walk through your career, right? So you went to the same school, kind of, had this love for creating music, and somehow miraculously, formed a friendship, but started working together in music, like making songs. And you had that moment where it was like, almost like, to me, maybe on How High, Red and Meth, like, you rap, I rap. Let's rap together.
It kind of was like that. It literally was kind of like that.
Sort of like that epiphany.
Yeah.
That epiphany sort of moment.
So how do you get from there, just kind of like aspiring MCs that just want to do it, to literally creating your own lane that not many people travel? Like, did you plan to do that, or were y'all just kind of...
I don't think it was necessarily like a conscious decision. Like, it wasn't like we have to be different and like always focusing on that. It was just more as we went on and like we would share music, we would create our natural affinities and like the things we like and don't like about music all sort of started coming together in the pot. So then,
My bad.
no, you're good.
This was silent. My apologies.
No, you're good. So as we continued to do that, it's just started to go ahead and become its own thing. Like whatever it was called, all of that like was kind of unsure. Like there are some terms that people like alternative hip hop or something like that people would throw on stuff like that, but that doesn't necessarily define exactly what it is that we do. And yeah, it's just something that sort of came over time and evolved as we've also evolved as people and our tastes have expanded.
I think that we both grew up in an era, like with the 90s, there was a lot of experimentation with rock music and like hip hop beats and sampling, and like bands were experimenting with sampling and rappers were experimenting with like rock guitars and stuff. And then you had like the new metal, like Linkin Park, Korn kind of stuff happened after that. So I feel like we were like growing up in an era where there was a lot of mixing and matching, experimentation. Gorillaz is another one. Like all different, but all still mixing things together. And I think so. I've always been into that. He's always been kind of into that. And I think I kind of was going too far into, I think, experimenting and trying different things. And then coming together was like helped us kind of find a balance between something that is challenging, but it's something that's also digestible and like you can listen to it. It's not like, I don't know, it doesn't scare people away.
Right.
And I think that's the kind of the sweet spot that we found, and we've kind of just been honing that and focusing that over the years.
So it's kind of like a just making art thing. Like for me, a lot of people that I was around kind of had this urgency of like, we need to get a deal. We need to be on. We need to be rich. Like we were watching MTV Cribs and, you know, seeing the Maybachs and Benzes and all of this stuff. And we had such big dreams to acquire all of this, you know, material stuff. And this was just kind of like the lane to do it. And then we wanted to follow that format of like, okay, in order to get the money and the fame and the girls and stuff, you need to rap like this, or your song needs to talk about that.
Yeah.
You guys never like were affected by that process?
Oh no, we definitely were. I think anybody that was like you had said in that Mac Wiz era, where you, especially when you have something that's like so close to home, you have guys that quite literally were living like down the street from folks. Like it makes it more material and real. Right. So it's like, well, why can't that go ahead and be me if this dude from right around the way can? So that urgency exists, and it feels like you have more time to work towards that whenever you're younger, because it's like, oh, well, like I'm 19, 20, 21, like why not? There's plenty of time, especially when other people are getting on at those ages.
Right.
But then as you move forward and you're still trying to do it, that urgency starts to bubble up a lot more, because as you like get older, like life starts to happen. The hourglass is running out. So then that can also manifest in this sort of like the way that you interact with people in a different way. But that's where it becomes important to, as you get older, also recognize that this can happen at any time. Like some of the guys that we like I love Action Bronson. Action Bronson got on when he was like in his, like when he was like 32, like in his mid 30s. Like there's so many people that go ahead and like actually get on whenever they're like in their late 20s and their 30s and continue to be relevant like into their late 30s and in their 40s. Like people that are, Clips came out last year with a rap album that was one of the best, if not the best, some people would say. And Malice is 50, Pusha T is 40 something. So like you can't, that urgency was there, but I think we've both learned over time and just getting older that everything happens how it's supposed to be and when it's supposed to. So you just gotta keep chugging away, doing your thing, not worrying about all that other stuff, and just let the life happen.
See, I think during that era when we got in the Wiz Mac era, as I call it, like post Shadow, like Shadow Lounge or the end of Shadow Lounge, I think they got a lot of people started getting into it for the wrong reasons. They're like chasing the dream. Are you making music to be rich and famous, or are you making music because you have something to say, you have something to create, you know, something that drives you? And there was a lot of people that would try to challenge us, like, you should just make music like this, or you should do stuff like this. But we were also a fan of like the mixtape era of stuff, like all those guys like Kid Cudi and J. Cole and Wale and Yellow Wolf, and like they're all doing completely different stuff, and they're all getting on, and they're all unique, and they all have their own sounds and their own vibes. And I felt like that was important to us to still do that. Like, instead of following, I feel like if you're following what's already popular, you're already behind. So why? I feel like it's more fruitful in the long run to just do your thing, and just keep doubling and tripling down on, and like getting better and identifying what you could do better. But you know, don't sacrifice your voice. I feel like to try to find some shortcut. I feel like to make it, and I think it's still relevant today with like the TikTok kind of world that we live in. Is like you have to make content a certain way and put it out so often, etc. But yeah, we just kind of keep doing our thing.
After that explanation, I actually compared Corey and the JSP. They kind of gave me a feel of Run the Jewels. I feel like you guys might fit a little bit better, but either way,
we've heard that one a lot.
Run the Jewels. Just the I mean, of course, the age thing, like your whole explanation of, you know, being older. Run the Jewels, like they're just in their own complete separate lane. I wouldn't say musically. Musically is definitely like some really lyrical Beastie Boys.
Yeah.
Where. And even in the videos, kind of, I remember being a kid watching The Box. This was a while ago, 90s, I want to say, early 90s. And Sabotage was a video. And to watch this video, it looked like it was just some dudes with a camera. Like, it didn't look like the other videos. It stood out completely as its own. So as I sat and I watched you guys' videos, I'm like, I don't know how much equipment, how much money went into it, how much time, how much editing, but it gave me the feel of, dude, I just want to make a fucking video. Like, we got a song, let's just make a video. And there were views on it that weren't, we'll say, viral, 200,000 numbers. You know what I mean? But knowing everything that I know about you, listening to the song, watching the video, it made me feel like these guys are not listening to whatever everybody else is saying. Where people are like, you need to have videos like this. You need to make your song like this. You need to put auto-tune in it. You need to, like... And that was always one of my issues, where whenever I would try to create, somebody listen, oh, these drums sound like they're from 2015, and you know what I mean? Just kind of like in order for you to create right now, you have to have a certain something to fit in the mold in order for it to be acceptable. Does that sound familiar? Like, have you heard that before?
Yeah. And when like the sounds of the time, you know, whether it was kind of trap 808 beats, you know, a decade ago, or if it's auto-tune, or if it's like country rap stuff now, or I don't know what
like
fad there is.
Like the, what is it? Like the drumless
beats in the underground are very popular. Yeah. We like them, but we like banging drums, so like we're not gonna stop rapping on drum beats with drums on them.
I mean, so for anything that you do, whether it's from the video, whether it's from, you know, the beats that you pick, the way that you write, are you trying to keep up with some level of commercial rap, like to please the people?
I don't know if it's, I think it's more being tapped in to understand what's going on. And like maybe there's like sounds or like techniques that are being used that, like, if you think they're cool, granted you still have to think that they're like interesting and cool, that you can go ahead and add in, but not necessarily trying to like go out of the way to make it that way, but still finding ways to make the music accessible still. Like that's sort of like I think like our hooks like the hooks that he writes are very much a part of that, something that keeps it like grounded and accessible while still being interesting to the listener, and especially for a listener that's actively looking for something that's going to be different off the beaten path.
It's something we talked about, I think, after like GNX came out, or like we're big Kendrick fans, always have been since like his early mixtape, like Overly Dedicated. And like the beat switches or something we talk about, like techniques like that are more like, it's not the sound, but it's like a technique that they're doing to keep the song feel fresh, as they'll switch the beat half the way, or stuff like that. So we are now like, we talk about that kind of stuff, or like different kinds of deliveries, or pitching the vocal down or up, or what have you. Like there's always people making stuff that we like or that we're interested in, but we've also been doing this long enough. They're like, we have our lane that is established now at this point. So it's like, it would take something big to make us want to like copy something that is popular, even if it's a small element of it. And a big part of like our thing is like, we very much are like fans of music in general. Like we go out of our way to try to listen to like older albums from different eras and different genres, and like these are the best albums of all time stuff, to try to understand like what makes things tick style wise, or like, is there something I can take from this genre, this style, or this band, and when you mix it in with all this other stuff, it's like a whole different collage of, and it becomes its own thing. Whereas if I separated all these parts, you'd be like, okay, I see that one, I see that. They all come from these different things. So I feel like I always tell people that, like, people are like, oh, you guys are so unique, you guys do such different stuff. But like, if I explained how we did it, it feels much easier. It feels really easy to us. It feels like second nature. It's like, I don't know. It's not as hard as you think it is. If you like a bunch of different stuff and then you just combine element from here and there, then you have something new.
I think it's a matter also about having that willingness and that confidence to step off the porch a little bit more and like try something. 'Cause like
challenge yourself artistically.
And that's I think that's a lesson that goes in like all aspects of life, but specifically for the music, like going ahead and being willing to at least try going against the grain and trying something different versus just what everybody else is doing. Like, it's instead of participating in the copycat league, as they would say in like sports or something like that. Right. So, and just really being, just having that confidence and be like, well, I'm gonna try this. If it works, then awesome. Like, we can continue to like pull from this and evolve it, or if it doesn't work, then okay, then I can go ahead and find something else to do, or however you go ahead and choose to go about that creation.
That sounds about right. I feel like in my most creative moments, so like for example, when I'd be making a beat, I would do something simple like rub my hand on a wall. Like, oh shit, that sounds kind of cool. And I'll put the microphone and just kind of rub my hand on the wall, see what it's like. Speed it up a little bit, put a filter on, put it behind the drum. Stuff like that, where I had that in writing songs. We would go through like the thesaurus or dictionary and pick, we're just going to use all I words for this bar and then all E words for this bar, and just kind of go back and forth through the whole song.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Seeing, only 2-syllable words here and 4-syllable words there. Always trying to find a way to basically like challenge, like you said. Mm-hmm. But that in itself is what kind of gave me or helped me to create a sound, I guess. So I can relate to that. That makes sense.
Just last thing on this is another part of it, I think, is we're trying to like make stuff that we would love to hear more of, and like so like I said, that we grew up in that '90s experimental but pop still era, and then we kind of moved beyond it, and I feel like that we felt like there's more to do with that. So we're kind of like we're gonna keep hitting on this until we feel like we're satisfied with it, and that's a big part of it as well. It's like, make the music you want to hear, not necessarily what's already out there.
And you're not caught up in this this whole idea of like put out a song and wait to see what it gets and just repeat, wash, rinse, repeat, same, put out another song and see how well it does?
I think we like albums. I think we're too old school with albums to do that. As much as I love to watch the numbers go up, it probably would be beneficial for us to do that sometimes. So we're trying to maybe try to be more balanced, like have loosies occasionally. But I don't know how you feel about it.
I'm an album person, so like singles are cool. Like a single is going to be like the bait to go ahead and hook you in, but I like seeing someone's collective work and their mind, dive into their mind and how it's working in that moment. Like the stories that you're trying to tell or the feelings that you're trying to capture. Yeah. And a single doesn't always necessarily capture that energy. And like I'm a big fan of seeing what you are bringing to the table this time in its entirety and not just in pieces. I don't like this era of like, what is it? Playboi Carti's album was like 30 songs. And I'm like, wow, this is 3 albums in one album. And most of this isn't gonna be like something that most people, even like fans of his, are probably gonna like spin like fair amount of times. You know what I mean? It's just, I don't know. I think that treating albums like playlists is weird to me.
I think when people start because the reason why people were doing that is because they were trying to gain the Spotify stuff. Like, if someone listens to the album once, if you have 30 songs on it, you'll get more plays than if you had 10. I think that was the reasoning. So, like, you see more and more people making decisions based on what will do better with the algorithm. And, like, at some point, like, that's going to water down the product a bit.
Yeah, the playing the numbers game, and I hate it. I hate it.
It's a balance thing, like, because if you don't go ahead and if you don't play the game to a certain extent, you almost limit your reach.
Yeah.
But if you go ahead and if the only reason that you play is for the sake of the game, then just like JP said, it starts to go ahead and water down your product. And like, if that's what you want to do, that's fine. But that's just not something that, for me, as a fan of music and as an artist, is fulfilling.
Yeah, I feel like that kind of, maybe not completely, but kind of touches into the realm of like fake plays or buying fake streams and views and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's a part of playing it. Is going ahead and having the ability to purchase those things in order to artificially generate some numbers, because some people these days will solely base what is good or not off of those numbers. So if you see someone it's a small artist that has 10, 20, 25K views on something, that will draw a certain crowd of people in, or to go ahead and thusly check out the rest of what you have, which is a valid strategy.
That's actually a interesting point. I just read somewhere, seen a video about who is the CEO for YouTube? I can't think of his name right now.
I don't know that dude's name.
He's a record label executive, has been for a long time. I can't think of his name. But basically, he admitted to an artist, like they had a conversation or whatever, about the process for how they work and then how everything is payola. So like Billboard and shit like that. Where us, locals on a lower scale, we're like condemning anyone that buys YouTube views. Whereas on a major scale, they're spending money to get you higher up on the Billboard charts and to get your radio spins and stuff like that to inflate the numbers for streams and stuff. Just thought it was interesting, like the dynamic between the two.
It does seem like the culture is shifting though for little artists, because it's hard to get away with buying plays and streams and stuff if you don't have a base already, because they identify it really quick.
Yeah.
Spotify will ban your ass for doing that.
Yeah.
But But also now you have all these like Instagram ads are like 10 times more useful than they were a decade ago. We put some of our advertising budget into Instagram ads on our video reels, and they've done the best we've ever had, posts we've ever had ever. And it was like putting $10 a day into a post.
How does it help? Is it just views?
It gives you reach. Yeah, it'll show the video to people that they think will like it, and then if they do, then it like kind of starts snowballing, and they'll show it to even more people. So we started using that for this last rollout, and yeah, we've gotten a post with thousands of likes now, which we've never had before. Always like the hundreds. And so I say that to everybody, like, you know, and I'm sure it's not, for some people it might be old news, but I know people that were still doing some of the old stuff, and I would not buy fake anything at this point if I could get something tangible. But I think the thing is you have to have a good product. If you're going to spend money on an ad and your video is mid or the song is mid, like it's not going to do what you want it to do. But if you have something that you believe in, then I think you know people should invest into those kinds of things.
So the more we talk about this, I'm not sure if you noticed, I kind of veered away from like the BBGuns career into this conversation.
Yeah, it's perfectly fine.
I wanted to like dive in to get like a firsthand understanding of your knowledge, like music industry and stuff. And just based on this conversation, like, wow, these guys are really knowledgeable. How did you get from just some MCs rapping to like actually knowing the business?
I feel like we're just understanding things. I think honestly, getting older was just experience and like making mistakes. You know, I feel like we've tried different techniques in the past. We were like an all Pittsburgh strategy. We did every show we could. We performed like 2 times a week here. For like a couple, if not more, sometimes. For a couple of years, and you know, it got our name out here, and we got a little bit of a fan base, but it's not enough to go. You know, there wasn't like a local virality that could launch you into another level. So I felt like at some point we're oversaturating ourselves. Why are we not going to other cities? So then we started doing that and planting seeds in other places, and that was really good for us. And then we realized that like that just got us out of the Pittsburgh mind space, the headspace. You know, like that we're a fish in this pond, and if we can just be the most popular person here, we'll make it. Especially because we have Rostrum and ID Labs here, they'll notice us.
Right.
And that's never going to happen for the style of music that we make. And we realized that we had to go find our audience out there in the world. And underground hip hop is popular. You know, like it's always going to be a thing, but underground hip hop isn't exactly popular here, you know, so like there is pockets, but so going to these other places, you know, we found our audience. We also started doing a lot of rock, like indie rock DIY shows because of the like kind of rock high energy sound that we have. And that was another thing that we realized that people that were like music nerds liked us, you know, like your needle drop watchers or something like that, and like pitchfork kind of people, and realized that was an audience too. And we stopped trying to force Pittsburgh, and we started trying to find the people where they are, like, and then that helped us develop blog networks, and like because the whole underground, whether it's rock or it's rap, still has a blogosphere, and like so you start with the little ones and you work your way up and stuff like that. You meet indie labels that if you get in with them, they'll pay for you to have tapes made, cassette tapes or CDs or vinyl if it's a little bit bigger, and so you just kind of get this you network with people in the region or people in the country or people in the world, and you start to build more of that, and it snowballs into more and more opportunities. And I feel like now we're at a point where like we have kind of broken into this regional, national underground, and people, we have underground legends giving us a call, having a conversation with us, and like say they really believe in what we're doing, and that didn't happen to us 2019, 2018, because we were just focusing so much on the city, and I wish we did this then we would be so much ahead of the game, I feel like, than where we are now. Not that we have a problem with it.
Hindsight's always 20/20 though. Like you can if we would have done this, what we do now, then like who knows where we would be as far as this music shit goes now. But it just is what it is. You learn your lessons, and then especially now, like we've been kind of emphasizing, like we're getting older. So if you're gonna go ahead and continue to do it, then you might as well do it the correct way and go for it. It's because now is as good a time as any time. And if it's gonna go, and if something happens with it, then something happens with it. If it doesn't, well then you really like put your foot in it and really gave it the best shot.
Yeah, make the shots count with the opportunities that you have, because they like the older you get, there's not as many. You know, not time wise, you don't have as much time to go and do random stuff.
Yeah.
And it takes away from other aspects of your life too. Like if you gotta go ahead and take off work to go ahead and do a show, and only a handful of people come to that show, and you're not getting paid. Like, was it worth it to go ahead and do it? Probably not. Right. Whenever you could have gone ahead and did your 8, 9, 10 hours, however long you do it, and you know that at the end of the day, you at least got some bread coming to you.
Right. At least
that check will clear the Friday after, the Friday after next.
I don't know. Sometimes this for me is kind of like a kid in a candy store. Like I have the opportunity to sit and learn, and I am a true self-proclaimed nerd. I love to learn. I'm super curious, and just the opportunity to sit across from people that have something that they know that like I haven't learned, completely unaware of. Like that's really why I do it. Like forget the audience. I'm trying to learn more. You know what I mean? So you mentioned like you're not doing it for Pittsburgh necessarily, because Pittsburgh doesn't really have the audience that you need. You have to go outside, right? Mm-hmm. So let's just say me, Kalaj Dame makes this music. I plan on making a CD that is a lot more eclectic than my older stuff. Okay. So I make my CD, music, whatever. I have my master. Let's say I upload it. I have Symphonic as my distributor. Mm-hmm. If I want to get more into this underground, like you said, DIY scene, even if it's not that specifically, like what do I do next? What's my next step?
I would say the first thing you should do is get online and find out who the people in the scene are that are doing what you want. They're doing where you want to, or doing things where you want to be. So like they're movers, or they blog people, or they indie record labels. You have to start small, and you have to. I feel like that's the thing with us. Like I don't care how big the blog is. If I can get an email, I'm gonna send them the record to see if they'll post it and talk about it.
So like aim for like online, like kind of like what would it be, press release type deal?
That's what we do. Yeah, it's very like an indie press release. I have a mailing list of 600 emails, and yeah, bloggers, podcasters, just Twitter, people that talk shit on the internet, whatever, and other artists, beat people, and I think that helps that's like the first step, and then doing shows, like when you book people from out of town in your city, they'll book you in their city, and then you kind of make friends and you build relationships with people and with different producers or artists. You might make music with them. You might, they might help you get shows. So it's the same kind of stuff you would do here. It's just applying it to anywhere, and then realizing for us is like we live near the biggest city in the world, 4 hours away, 5 hours away. Philly is also an incredibly big city. We live near Cleveland. We live near the DMV, like Baltimore.
Detroit, too.
Detroit, yeah.
Even if you go 8 hours and you want to make like a work day's drive out of it, you can get to Chicago. And you can get to Chicago.
That's like the we try to focus on anywhere we can get to in a day. So that way, we can just do a weekender. We don't have to take off work. If we get to a point where we have a lot of time off we can take, we can go farther than that. Mm-hmm. But that's kind of been our focus the last year or so, is these cities that we know like hip hop, like New York and Philly, and Cleveland, Columbus, and kind of just going left and right and as much as possible, and meeting people and doing all that networking. And the same thing you do here, you just have to drive.
So like, I don't know. I feel like there's some people where that information might go over their heads. Just in general, what does it mean to meet people?
It's about being able to go ahead and just like build those connections. Like quite literally just like it's the TLDR of what all that he said is just networking at the end of the day.
It is just networking.
Yeah, like it's just network. So like you just go ahead, like you build rapport with people via the internet, and then if someone wants to go ahead and do a show here, you have an opportunity, maybe you can book them, you go ahead and you book them, go ahead and and just really be able to build a rapport and a connection with another person beyond just the music.
The nuts and bolts it really is, at the end of the day, like just online, if I know somebody that I'm friends with online already, or I'll follow them and I'll comment on their stuff and I'll like their stuff and I'll try to find an in that like we know we have common ground, like we both work with this guy, or we both have been on this show, or we've been featured on this blog, and then and then we'll follow each other and we'll kind of talk from there, and it kind of just starts snowballing because you start doing that. I cold contact people all the time. Oh, you're in New York, we're in the same scene, we just got featured on this New York blog that you've been on. Can you hook us up with a show? Or like we can hook you up with a show in Pittsburgh. Like that's pretty much, I do a lot of cold contacting of artists and blog people. Like, hey, I saw you you interview people about albums. We just put out an album a few months ago. Love to talk to you about it. We were just featured on this. We were just featured here that Like, and make sure I name drop something that they've heard of, and then they'll want to give us a try. And ultimately, it comes down to the music at the end of the day. Yeah. But I use these techniques to get people to try it, and then once they try it, and that's the hook. Feels like sales, kind of.
Yeah. I feel like that's probably the element that most locals leave out of their repertoire is the not necessarily networking, because a lot of artists in the city are good at networking here.
Yes, definitely.
But the cold calling concept, cold contact of people, some random person in Cleveland or Detroit. Yeah. That, whether they own a venue or they rap themselves or produce themselves. I'm kind of more of a sales guy. Like I spend a lot of time like selling bootleg movies. I would sell my CD. That's actually how I got started. So I was selling my CD downtown, between $5 and $10 a piece, and I was standing next to a guy that sold bootleg movies, and I'm folding up my $30, and he's folding up $200 or $300. Yeah. It's like, I need to do what he's
I remember the DVD man back in the day.
Yeah.
I had a couple of those.
But sales in general, like that idea, that concept, just made me understand, how to network with people, the whole idea of you need something and I need something. I just need to convince you of that, that we need each other.
And then I'm on the level too. Like, I convince people like I'm not just some jerk on the internet. Like, I'm also doing this thing at a level similar to you. Yeah. So let's hook up and we can help each other if we can. And just sometimes just information sharing, just like this podcast is like some of it's just like telling someone about a venue that they can go to, or I go talk to this guy, and it just leads you to the next thing. But that's kind of what it's all about, is sharing information. That's how the underground lives, is sharing information and resources.
I got it. So back to the BBGuns timeline. So we start here, and we got together, we recorded some music. Is there a process to recording music that you guys have? Like, do you have specific producers that you go to, or a specific studio? Or is it just kind of like work with what you got?
We started recording, like this last project was recorded at his house.
We did it all ourselves, this last one.
We invested in some really good equipment so he could go ahead and have like good like studio quality recordings and everything, and just went ahead and did it ourselves. We have a couple of producers that we've like worked with, like locally and kind of in the region, like as far as like beats and stuff goes. Mm-hmm. So we can go ahead and reach out to some folks, and they'll always be like, "Oh yeah, we got you on some packs." Or even more recently with how this album has gone and like sort of like the expansion of the reach and I guess the footprint is probably a better way to put it. There's been like more producers that we've been able to go ahead and talk to and have reached out to be able to go ahead and give up more or to make more deals for like packs and things like that. And being able to just start there and like sort of, I guess, like crafting out and figuring out like a sound for whatever the project or whatever the song is going to be, and then kind of figuring out, okay, well, what's this going to be about? Like, if there's like some sort of like, we call them like prompts, like maybe there's like, whether it's a verse I wrote or a verse he wrote or a hook or anything like that, that kind of forms like the nucleus.
Like sets
Then
the
we
tone.
can, sets the tone.
Like the topic of the song.
Yeah.
And then we kind of just go ahead and write and develop parts for it around that center. And then once we go ahead, we record them, figure out what we need to add it. If there's anything we need to add, anything we need to take away. Would it be cool if we got, would it be cool if we got someone else to go ahead and jump on this too? And just really just making songs at the end of the day. Like what's something, if there's a beat that we both like, let's just work on it and see how it goes and just keep it pushing.
As time's gone on, I've gotten way more hands-on with the production. We still work with producers, we always will, but sometimes I'll make a beat with somebody. Sometimes I'll start with an idea and they'll finish it. Sometimes they have a very minimal, sparse beat, and I'll have like another buddy play guitar on it or play piano on it to kind of finish the arrangement. I very much love the mixing and vocal processing and like all that side of things. The production of like how the album's going to sound as a whole, and the recording stuff. And I'm just starting to learn about like beat stuff. I've been buying gear probably too much. But yeah, I think the more and more as time's gone on, we've had more and more control over our sound. And I feel like that's only, expanded our knowledge and expanded what we can do with our stuff.
And you're all like self-taught with the mixing and...
Yeah, I never mixed anything before Rust Belt, and I mixed it myself. Our main beat guy, Hike Keach from Baltimore, he talked me into doing it. I was like, I'll just do these demos, and then we'll send the stems to a real engineer, and then they'll mix it all down. And I sent him the demos. He's like, these are good. You should just finish them.
Wow.
So we sent it to someone outside to master. And thank God we did, because then I got to learn a few things about like, oh, this was something weird you did EQ-wise here that would be weird in the mastering. And so I learned a lot just from that. But yeah, this is very DIY approach with this record. Like we recorded it in my office, home office, that became our home studio. And yeah, I feel really good about doing that, again. We used to go to a local studio in the past and we learned a lot, but it felt like there was like a little bit of a degree of separation of like control of what we wanted the record to sound like.
Yeah. So it was the studio you went to was a professional studio, like a big commercial studio?
It's What If Studio in Springdale. Ian Hill runs it. It still exists, but it was out of his house. But he did like a lot of records locally at the time.
He did what he could to go ahead and make his whole setup as
it was a professional setup.
As legit as he could. He really did take his time and had like a side room that he used for a booth and really took the time to make sure he had like all the right padding, everything that he could to make it as official
I'm sure
as
it's
possible.
More involved even now because we haven't been there in a while. But yeah, we started out in a pretty real studio and then learn what we wanted and what we needed kind of from there.
Okay. Yeah, that's there's definitely a division. I found at some point in my career I was no good in professional studios. I gotten so comfortable in my own home studio that being in a professional setting, when I'm not recording myself, just kind of weirded me out. It was a different sound, different feel.
I think that's really the thing is like you get used to how you want to sound and then you go somewhere new and they're got a whole different chain going on. The compressor or whatever's different. You just got a whole different sound and it can be good, but Yeah, you kind of, it's hard to like tell somebody that's really professional, like, I don't like this, I want it like this.
Yeah.
Like I've gone to ID labs in the past, and it just felt like I couldn't say anything about what the song's going to sound like.
Yeah.
Because you guys are professionals and I'm just some guy. But now I feel like, I feel confident now that I could do that.
You wanted to get more into the DIY stuff. I remember you texting me, messaging me saying,
Yeah, you were like trying to find angles we could things we could talk about, and I was like the underground DIY. I think I wanted to. That was something that I think what we do that maybe your other guests aren't as familiar with. And the big thing. I mean, I mentioned the online element of it already, but then there's like with the rock scene at the time was like 6 or 7 years ago. Like there's just this network of people that run venues out of their homes or their apartments.
That's the word. So I imagine when I read that message from you, I imagine there's just random people that are like all across America, almost like, I don't know, like running from slavery.
It's like, yeah, it's like the underground rock railroad.
Honestly, low key, that's exactly what it is. Just like people going ahead and opening up their basements or
usually.
whatever sort of space that they had. Like I think we played one in like someone's big ass garage that they had in Ohio before. And like just people opening those spaces up. Yeah, played in living rooms.
Like leader porch light on and you knock 3 times or something? Like how did?
Well, sometimes it can be like that. Like make sure you park in this parking lot, then go here, then you're gonna see this spot, and this is where you go in at. But sometimes it very literally is just like, here's the address, or ask somebody for the address. They'll tell you where to go. And it's
just
not,
pop
up and just
you usually have to ask.
Pay your $5.
It's like DM for the address is usually the.
You ever get the weird feeling like, is this the right house? Like I don't want to just go in the wrong house.
You usually can tell with other people, like the cars and stuff. But when you're playing, you're there early to set up or check or whatever. So yeah, there's been some moments where you weren't sure if you're at the right place, but you just check the house number and knock on the door. But yeah, it's led to some interesting experiences. I will say that. It is a wild gamut of things that you could get when you go to a house venue. They can be really small and not a lot of people show up, or they could be a house party banger where you won't get to sleep. And they'll tell you can sleep on the floor, but the party don't end. So
are these like house parties?
Occasionally,
sometimes
they're more party oriented. Sometimes it's just like music nerds that just come out to this person's house to watch a couple of bands and go home. It can be anywhere in between this. It can be like a coffee shop kind of vibe, or it can be a straight up banging party.
2016 house party, like they meme about these days.
It's true.
It's like an organized network, though.
Yeah. Because it usually gets connected by the other touring bands that like from different places, and they'll come to your city, and you'll open for them, and then they'll tell you about, you'll ask them like where are the other. You'll see like they're playing at this venue or this venue or this venue, and then you look up the venue, and it's not a real place. It's just an Instagram page that says house venue or DIY venue or DM for address. There's not as many of them as there used to be, I will say. I think that the culture has maybe shifted a bit since COVID. People aren't exactly inviting strangers into their homes as much, but it still exists. That energy is out there, and I think that was what we learned about like real music. That's where the real music's happening, is in people's basements and people that just come out because they love it. There's no money, because I think that's the thing about the culture with that stuff. There's no, I'm trying to make it to be famous, or I'm trying to make it for money. It's all just like people that want to make music to make music, and then like it's almost like frowned upon to like try to be an opportunist. Like you're here to do your music, and if people like you, then good for you.
So how do you get paid doing that? Or do you?
They do get, so actually that stuff pays more consistently than any rap showcase in the city we've ever been on, because they'll split it. It's always split. Like the 3-4 bands, the acts, whether it's rap, they split it, whatever the door is, it's split evenly.
Wow.
So like the
4X.
home takes a few bucks obviously to cover their costs, but like it's not a profit oriented thing. So it's just, you know, give the bands their money. The touring band usually gets the most money because they had to drive far to go to the show.
Yeah.
And then that's that.
Wow.
I get spoiled. We'll do a regular rap show, and I'm like, we would like a split of the door, and they're like, get the heck out of here.
But people in those, like on the DIY side of things, are this also the same people that'll like buy merch and tell people.
They also
about
buy
you.
merch.
So
yeah.
like if you go ahead and you go to one of these shows with, now we have a tote, but before we had like this blue suitcase that we would take everywhere. You can go ahead and do that. Someone likes your stuff. Next thing you know, they're going ahead and giving you $10 for a
Because they're
shirt.
music fans.
And then you see that person on a story on Instagram or make a post, and they're wearing your shirt. Or like I've had someone DM me before. I was like, hey, check this out. And they're with somebody that they just ran into that has on a BB gun shirt.
In another city.
Yeah, in like a whole other place. Or even with inside the city, but it's just so random. Like you don't just expect it.
Yeah.
It's an interesting space to exist inside of. It's very much teaches you a lot too.
Because like people they want to discover a band. They want to like be the one that I told y'all about this band, and now they're getting bigger or whatever. It's like being in on the ground floor.
That Back to the Future moment.
Special, yeah.
I feel like it kind of connects. Like I'm trying to connect dots mentally. I don't know if you remember JP in the Steve Maffey interview when we were talking about curating an audience per se, or you know, your fan base, whatever, where the way you're describing, like with this DIY network, I guess we could call it.
That's the best name for it.
The DIY network, you know, these people that are spending money, where it's almost like your curated fan base of people that are like your loyal following, almost, you know, that going along with email lists, so on and so forth. It's completely different than, you know, I'm on Facebook and I'm just adding random people.
I do that too, but
Add random people?
Yeah.
Does that work from, like, you know, you're posting, hey, you know, we're performing this day. Like, does that get you results? Or click on this and watch this video?
As time gone on, it's probably less and less. Facebook especially is not what it once was. I feel like it's like a certain generation of people are more on Facebook, and then Instagram, the way the algorithm works is like you can't really control who sees stuff or not. So I think a lot of people have had to go, like, you got to do everything. You have to do, I'm on all the social medias, we post on all of them. But you know, some of them are going to be only a little drop, and some of them are going to be a much bigger return. So we just kind of try to do everything. The grassroots stuff that kind of gets touched with people directly, but we still do the social media posts, and I still add people to the network on there. But local, like, just I don't see. Like, because we took a little break from COVID and a lot of things, and since we've come back, it's like I've added a lot of people and I've interacted with a lot of people, but it's not been a lot of, like, I don't know, good connections, I would say, from it, or like people that will interact with our posts regularly or something like that. It's hard to convert from just that. So like I think that's a small part, whereas the face-to-face direct stuff, DMing, I think that's like we see the most returns out of that.
You think you could, grown men, kids, can y'all still get out and go on the Underground Railroad with this project? Is that a thing?
I mean, hey, like if it lined up that way, like, you know, my back might hurt by the time a week, 2 weeks is done, but if there was a chance that it lined up that way, then...
You still have interest in it?
Oh,
like,
absolutely.
in doing it?
So I think this record doing as well as it did, it felt like that we have to keep going, you know, like, so like we kind of are shifting though, instead of doing every show possible, like instead of a tour where we go 2 weeks or 3 weeks straight of shows all over, we're just trying to do weekends. And so that's what I was talking about, like, where can I go in a day? Like, where can I drive? How far away can we drive from Pittsburgh in a day so that we can hit Friday and Saturday and just keep hitting Fridays and Saturdays as much as we can in different cities, and then see what that snowballs into, kind of plant seeds at the least. But also we're trying to shift to more making more music rather than doing so many shows, because we probably won't have the time to do as many shows.
I get it. Also, I guess with that whole DIY thing, one of the things that you had noted to me was, I guess, for an artist to have the ability to like do their own stuff, like artwork, videos, throw their own shows, so on and so forth. That's something you advocate for?
Oh yeah.
100%.
And that's the culture, is everyone does all their own stuff, and like, you know, they might pay, find an artist to make an album cover, but it's a real artist. It's not just some random, photo stock website or AI or something. Like, they're paying a human to, like, an artist that they like. Like, I'm a fan of their art and I want them to do my cover. Like a more organic kind of approach. But yeah, I encourage everyone to learn how to do everything, and the more that you can do on your own, and the more independent that you can be, the further that you'll go, in my opinion.
Really? I feel like I want to push back on that, and the only reason I say that is because I've been that guy for most of my career. Like, as you can see, all the cameras are
Yeah. I have been too.
I do all the editing. What haven't I done? I've always written all my music, of course, rapped all my music, engineered all my music. Went back to school for marketing so that I could learn business, and started getting my own like sponsorship deals, landing magazine articles and stuff like that. Like, it was literally to the point where I was doing everything, wearing all the hats. And my main problem was I couldn't be in two places at once.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, that is the problem. But I think understanding how to do it all can then help you, like, find good people to delegate tasks to, and like find out like what can I trust someone else with, or what, like, this has to be done by me because I feel like no one's going to do it the way I want it. Right. It's a balance. You can't, because there's not enough time in the day to do everything. And if you are going to do everything, you're going to burn yourself out. Like, it won't last forever. We've burned ourselves out and took breaks multiple times. So I wouldn't say learn how to do everything and do everything. But
just the knowledge.
But yeah, like knowing how to do Photoshop and being able to make singles and stuff, or learning like fonts, I think that has been very helpful for me. And like I direct our videos. Like, my brother is a videographer, so like I've been able to learn stuff from him, and like he's learned the same stuff. Like we all participate in this because we've all been working together on all these things for so long.
Nice.
And I think that's why I said earlier, like, getting older, I feel like I understand so much more because it's taken time and experience to like learn the different facets of stuff and making mistakes and whatever.
Okay. First time you ever booked a tour, was the DIY thing, or was it like just booking a tour in general?
It was a DIY.
And how does that work? Like, how do you book a tour in regards to the DIY? Like, do you just call all the venues in advance and say, hey, we want this date? Or
well, you goes back to the networking, and like you kind of have an idea or know where it is that you want to go. So like the first one we did, for example, we went from New York to Jersey to Philly. So then whenever have that knowledge there, you can go ahead and say, all right, so we're trying to do, we'll say like July 5th through the 7th. I'm sure that's not a weekend this year, but you get what I mean?
Yeah.
You go ahead and you have a chunk of dates, and then you go ahead and you get a hold of that network and be like, oh, hey, so-and-so, we're trying to go on tour this chunk of days. Do you have, and is there any leads, or could you help us go ahead and find a show? And then that person go ahead and help, or if they can't, go ahead and help you directly, because some people aren't booking shows right now, or
they're busy.
They're busy. People come up and leave and do all that stuff all the time, like just like how it is here. And then you go ahead and you start to like, all right, well, we have this one now then you try to go ahead and book the next one in the same direction you're trying to go. So then that way it's not like you're going from like one side of the world to the other one. You're just going like, all right, so we made the big drive to go ahead and get here. Now we're going to go a couple hours to go to the next one, then a couple hours to go to the next one, and then we head back. Because then you're going in the direction that you want to go. Right. And then even whenever, and it's just a lot of that, utilizing the network that you have and connections that you've made to try to go ahead and string those sort of runs of shows together.
And the DIY doesn't mean exclusively house venues. Like, I think that run you're talking about, that was all real venues. We just knew DIY bands that helped us book them. But sometimes it would be a mix of house venues and real venues or whatever. But it would just really be wherever we could get in. It didn't matter if a house venue is what we had, that's what we had. Especially if there's house venues that would get more people than a regular bar. So like, if it was popping, if I knew it was a popular place, we'd try to want to get into that.
Is this is it like a super secret network? Like, are you allowed to disclose how someone can go about getting involved with it? Like,
it is and it isn't. Like, you're not allowed to share addresses. Like, I can't give addresses, but I could be like, this venue exists in this town. You can find their Instagram page and message them if you want to book them. And if there's a show, then you just message somebody about where, and you want to go, it's in your town, you just message somebody where it is.
So it's kind of like a members only thing where, like, if you know someone, they'll, hey, I'm a part of this thing.
But they get promoted publicly, just like any old show. Like, the flyers get posted on social media, and you're messaging your friends to go, and whatever. It's just, like, it's just at somebody's house. I feel like back in the day, maybe they used to have flyers for like house parties back in the day.
I've definitely
like
performed at house parties.
It works like that. Like, it's not like some cloak and dagger, like, go here, then go through the back of this place,
Speakeasy,
and then knock on this door this certain way, then someone opens the door, and then you do all sorts of extra shit.
Yeah.
Like, it's much more straightforward than what it seems, but there's just sort of like a specific sort of I guess code of ethics, maybe.
Yeah, definitely.
Like a code of ethics code of ethics and etiquette that goes along with it. So you have to kind of adapt to and abide by that set of rules and to be able to build more.
Yeah, like, it's very queer friendly spaces, that kind of stuff. Yeah, you just want to be mindful of, the different kinds of people that are going to be at your shows. It's all inclusive. All kinds of folks are there. So, that's a big part of it, is the social element. And I think that's why it's like anti-capitalist. It's trying to be like, it's not about the money. It's just about the art. And at the end of the day, and that is what drew us to it. And it was good to us.
That's interesting to think that, because a lot of times I feel like we get so comfortable in life that we feel like we know everything that's happening around us.
Valid.
Like, talking to my wife, we're going back and forth about politics and stuff, and we're watching TV, sending our kids to school, and just the idea that just hypothetically there could be one of these houses like up the street or something, without our knowledge, like something that I would completely be into and love. Like, just my mind is blown just hearing y'all talk about it and say that these things exist. Where, like, man, I feel old now, but I definitely want to go to one, at least like as a.
That's what made it harder to do the shows at them, because the older we got, like, the audience would be the same age, and it would get to the point where you would start feeling older. But because it was like a lot of college kids, it was very much college kid ran. But no, they still exist, and they still book. Like, we've played with, like, not big, but like established national touring acts in a house venue before.
Really?
Yes. It'd be like members of this indie band that gets on Pitchfork, and it'd like their side project, and they'd be playing in this basement with us.
That is huge.
But yeah, no, it is super, super cool. And the spirit of it is just like really, like, you know, it's rock and roll, it's real hip hop, whatever you want to say. It's the spirit of music. I feel like is what that is.
Yeah. Okay. So you guys feel like your I guess like your hip hop genre crosses into rock, like it's on that plane.
I think it crosses over into a lot of spaces, but in that wave in like the late 2010s, like that was sort of the space that was giving a lot of love and appreciation to it, which sort of led to gravitating more so in that direction. But just like JP said, like at some point, because this is mostly like college kid ran, you get to a point where you start to almost like granted, whatever's dope is always dope. So like that's always going to be a thing, but you almost sort of like age out of them in a way. Yeah. So that's always like it's always just a very real thing. You just get older and it's just not the bag for you anymore.
I think
you find you find like the more evolved sounds condescending, but like a more evolved version of that where it's just like people that are still doing similar things to that. It's just that they're older now. Like they're more in your age bracket. So then people have that understanding of how things go and all of that, and you continue along that path.
Right.
The cultures have changed though too. It's like I feel like there was in the 2010s there was like more of a like music. Good music is good music, and people wanted to see shows, and they didn't care what the genre was as long as everything was dope. And like I don't know what happened since COVID or what, but in the last few years, since we've been doing shows again the last couple of years, it's been much more like genre based again. Like everything's getting split up more, and so that's what led us back to underground hip hop. Is like that felt like a space where there was still a lot of experimentation happening, and whereas the rock scenes that we were in before, kind of like whether we aged out and like these younger kids didn't know us, or the appetites are kind of people are looking for more specific stuff. But things have definitely changed in that world, and like people's appetites seem to be like they want specific niches instead of like you know, whatever. If it's a 10 out of 10, I'm gonna try it no matter what the genre is, you know, which is kind of the school that we were always in.
Do you guys have a record label?
We are on a record label. It is You Don't Deserve This Beautiful Art out of Philadelphia. It is run by Darko the Super.
So like a deal, like you're signed to a...
Yeah, it's indie, so it's a small thing. It's really just around the physicals. Like they'll cover your vinyls get made. We also had a separate deal with Hellbender Vinyl locally to do our vinyls. So we had like a discount, or like we had like a good price with them, and it was like fronted to us essentially. And then we had this label on the side that is selling the records for us, like online and promoting them to their base. Yeah.
Is it worth signing?
It depends on what you're looking for and what the returns can be. Because in certain situations, aligning yourself with certain, just like in life, aligning yourself with certain people might not serve you the way that it would. Maybe that's because numbers don't line up. Maybe that's just because you and the people over there just have different philosophies on how this should work. Like, there's a million reasons why. So it's just about being able to shop yourself and having an understanding of what you're looking for and what you're trying to do, and then seeing what it is that these people over here are capable of doing or are willing to do for you, and then seeing if you can either meet in the middle, make sure that you can meet their expectation, they can meet yours, and you can make something beautiful out of it. But just like any other time, you know, we all have heard a million stories in like indie, underground, locally, underground, nationally, where people get caught up in deals and they're fucked up deals and it doesn't really benefit them, and then like people end up like getting like off their contract, but then they're like in debt or some shit like that. Like that doesn't really serve you the way that you wanted it to. So it's really about just taking the time to see what's going to be beneficial to you and understanding what you're looking for.
Because there's really level to what a label can do for you. There's like levels to it. Like at the lowest level, it's either they're going to pay for your recording and then they own your recording, or they pay for your physicals to get made, and then there's an overhead that they need to get their money back.
Right.
So those are the two basic things that they can do. So so we were just trying to find someone to help us do something, and we thought that they could give us access to potential people that would buy the record than we would have otherwise. And we felt like it was a good thing. It would add a level of credibility, because they're in the indie world, the underground rap world, that they have an established name of some kind that would give a blog, a blog would give us a chance and review us if they saw that it was on that label. So it's it adds some prestige or something to credibility to what you're doing. But I think a lot of people locally in the local rap scene, envision deals to be major label deals or nothing, or it's got to be this 360 kind of deal, or it's they're giving me an advance of thousands or millions of dollars or something like that, right. And it's just not how indie labels actually work. You have to have a big fan base to be getting money like that. But there are tons of small labels that will give a chance to artists that they think have something special, and they'll help facilitate some of those things, like getting physicals, which is everyone should have, or helping you get your stuff recorded.
How do you sell physicals?
Bandcamp's the main way. That's the label has their own Bandcamp, and we have our own Bandcamp. There's a culture with vinyl on there, limited editions and stuff like that. Small runs, 100 record runs, 50 record runs, and people sell them out. We actually got on the Bandcamp charts for underground hip hop for the album that we just put out, and I don't know if that would have happened if we didn't have a label.
The one you just put out.
Yes, yes.
Wow.
And it only takes if you sell 30 records in a day, you could get on the chart, because it's just how much money you've sold on the platform.
Right.
And it's a lot of independent artists. But stuff like that snowballs. So yeah, it's that infrastructure, having merch and having because now we make a little more money than we've ever had before, because we have merch and we have the streaming revenue, which is nothing, and the show money and et cetera, and it starts to add up into something that we can invest back into ourselves, and it's nice.
Wow. And you guys have all the ASCAP and Song Trust and all that
We
stuff?
don't.
What?
Yes, I know. I think I'm scared. I don't know what to say on the podcast, but it's I see a lot of people locally talk about that stuff, and I know that you can get extra revenue and get placements and stuff. So I'm sure it's on my list to look into this time around. But because our music is so sample heavy, I'm afraid of extra scrutiny on samples. We once were in talks with Netflix to use our music, and I don't know why I said this, but I was like, hey, just so you FYI, these will have a lot of samples, and it is what it is essentially. And they ignored me from that point, and I told myself I'll never say anything about it again. Use it, we'll deal with the problem later.
Yeah.
But so that's why I've hesitated to do that so far, and it's not really a big thing in the underground world that people talk about. So I've been meaning to, because people locally are you got to get your ASCAP and BMI registered, and you're losing money by not doing that. So yeah, I plan on looking into it. But
yeah, I would say as far as samples, I probably would be more nervous about the distributor picking up on it, because they would use I guess some form of AI detection.
Content ID, yeah.
Yeah, where ASCAP, for example, they're just using song information. So you don't actually upload a song there.
Okay, you just give them the information for the distributed thing.
Who wrote the song, what's the ISRC number, all of that stuff. And then whenever a distributor has all the information, and say Facebook, someone uploads a video with your song on it, where they didn't actually go through the song, selection option to put your song on there.
Yeah.
But they're actually playing the music in the background.
Yeah.
If they upload that video and your music can be heard, Facebook does the content ID scan, and then that is paid through by ASCAP, not your distributor. Your distributor won't pay for that. Your distributor pays for actual streams. So like when someone says, I want to listen to this song, and they go somewhere online and click on it or select it, that's when you're paid through like TuneCore, DistroKid, shit like that. When your song is broadcasted anywhere, if it's scanned, if they take a note of it, if there's content ID or whatever, that's sent to ASCAP, BMI, CSAC, and that's who pays for that.
Yeah, sounds like we should do that then. But
especially for like radio stations. So like
we get played on WIP a bit, so that probably is money we're missing out on.
Radio stations, you want Sound Exchange, Song Trust for your mechanicals, and you also want BDS. I think it's Media Play. You register for them?
I don't think, unless the distribution does it automatically, then we do not.
So BDS, they don't actually pay you, but they track you for charts.
Okay.
So like Billboard charts and stuff.
Okay, yeah.
So if you go around to all the BDS registered radio stations, let's just say you go on a college radio tour, and you go to all these different college stations and submit your vinyl, and they're playing, this is the hottest record, whatever, performing all this other stuff. If it's not registered, then you wouldn't know. You'd just be, performing or whatever. If it is registered, all of a sudden you're Billboard Top 100, all those charts and shit like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's definitely reason to do it, but I understand. I sample Annie Tomorrow by Annie, which was owned by Sony. And I had to be like 18, 19. I'm like trying to call them to get sample clearance, like a license. They wouldn't give it to me.
But you got to hit them with the Jay-Z move, man.
What did Jay-Z do?
Whenever they were making Hard Knock Life, they were worried about getting the sample approved. So Jay-Z wrote a letter to the company that owned the rights to the song, or like the playwright, whoever it was. It was like, oh, whenever I was a kid, I went to go see Annie. It was the first time. It was the first time that like me and my classmates coming from the projects in Brooklyn got to go ahead and go to Broadway and see something. It was incredible. I would be honored to use it, and they let him do it.
That's crazy. I might have to.
He was already established as an artist by that point. That was like the third album, wasn't it?
He was still established, but it was still one of those things where like,
there's some
those songs from Annie, because especially like, that's a huge musical. Like that's not going to be something that like just anybody, whoever it is that's going to do it, is just going to let you like use without getting their slice of the pie.
Not even just that. Well, that, but also I think that is the song that rocketed him into stardom. Like he was just a regular rapper for the most part before that.
If you knew ball and you knew hip hop, then you knew Jay-Z. But then that song and that sample, because it's so recognizable to like
over the top.
Pretty much everywhere. Yeah, I would say that that's the one that really pushed it over the top, and now we have the beginning of who we have now is Jay-Z.
Interesting. Yeah. Speaking of Annie, I gotta get Black Seas. Y'all worked with Black Seas before?
I don't think so.
I think I know the name, but no, we haven't worked with him before.
Really? He's the one that did the, I think it was Oliver. I'll Do Anything for Jay-Z. Yeah, he very early in my career, he helped me out with a few things, but he's a Pittsburgh local. He's one of our original.
Yeah, I know you're talking about now. Yeah.
Like the original pioneers that went out to Cali with Dr. Dre and stuff like that. Yeah, good dude, very good dude. So you know to start a record label, like I guess to help people to start a label. I know you messaged it to me.
Yeah, so we have like an imprint that we've had for a really long time, Subterranean Aliens, and we've booked under it, and we have now we have our own recording studio. So everything we put out is like technically co-promoted with our own label.
Okay.
And we've looked into recruiting artists to work with and kind of share information with, and if there's a way that we can help them, I've taught a couple local guys how to do press releases, like Connie Roses and Walkman, and just like, and now I'm thinking of, well, I want to Like now I don't want to have to deal with the paying for vinyl stuff anymore. Like I want to get a CD printer. And I remember back in the day, do you remember Jason Connor? He had like POPGH, the blog.com.
Yeah.
So he would do this thing. He bought a CD duplicator and a CD printer, and he would sell like, I forget how many CDs it'd be for like $50 or something.
Do like 100 CDs for you
for
like
$50, and it was like such a good deal. And I asked him like what he used and what he did, and I was like, it was cheaper to buy that stuff than to pay $1,500 to get vinyls made. So like now we're thinking of that. We're kind of a foot into owning the means of production.
Dude, I have a 1-to-4 CD and DVD burner. If it works, I will sell it to you bare bottom cheap if you want it.
Yeah, I mean that would probably help. The duplicators are easy to get. It's the printers that are hard to find for a decent price.
Gotcha.
And then it's like, do you want to buy jewel cases or what have you? Yeah. But no, it's easier than you think it is. And I've learned all of that over the years, and I just want to like. Choreo was somebody that was like an OG to us and kind of helped us learn about the city scene and stuff. And now that we're back and we're active, like we want to try to give back to people that we believe in, where we can. And it's not always easy, I feel like sometimes you're giving people unsolicited advice, and then they're like, "Who the heck are you? You haven't done anything," or whatever. But the people that are willing to listen, and that's what makes it worth it.
That's crazy. That's actually one of the reasons. There's a ton of reasons why I do this, but that's one of the reasons why I have this podcast as a way to kind of like, we don't necessarily have our own media outlet for Pittsburgh hip hop in general.
Facts.
And like I said, it's not a hip hop podcast, not a Pittsburgh podcast at all. But I'm going to formulate, let's just say, like a playlist type deal where we actually have curated, these are Pittsburgh, hip hop, where we know the stories, we know the origination, of all these different groups. And then there's maybe a tree, on the website where, he taught him and this is his protege and all of this stuff, where there's a record of it. And it kind of came from the Wall of Fame. Were you guys on that?
Nope.
No, and we were pissed off about it. Yeah, that was one of the things that made us come back with a vengeance, I feel like, a little bit. We were not happy that we weren't on the wall.
Yeah, I wasn't happy either. It was very, not so much me, but they missed so many people that are like my OGs, like legends.
Yeah, it was a lot of the like 2010s. Like Shadow Lounge and the post Shadow Lounge era. It was a lot of them.
Mm-hmm. I thought y'all should have made it though.
Oh yeah, we did too, but it is.
Yeah, it is what it is, But we got their hearts though. We might not be on the wall, but we got their hearts.
So that's what's weird about us, and it kind of is frustrating. And I think it's because we do something different. It's like, you ask people about us and like, yeah, those guys are dope. Those guys can rap. They make interesting, cool music, whatever. But then like you have a conversation about who their favorite hip hop whatever is, and like we never come up.
You know what? I was thinking about this as I listened to your music, and I listened again yesterday, and I was thinking about just the dynamic of it. There's a few interviews I did where I spoke on the dynamic between the boom bap hip hop and the hood hip hop, which in Pittsburgh there is a division between the two. So like I grew up in the hood hip hop, which was in Homewood. So we had started with the Tuffy Tough, the Rough Chemistries, Smash Money, Rampage, Schoolyard, Crew Clan, like all of these dudes that basically, I don't want to say it was like thugging, but it was like street-based rap.
Yes.
And we would look at like the Lone Catalyst and the strict flows, and we'd be like, "Oh, y'all cornballs!" Like back then, and that.
Yeah, I can see the strict flow comparison makes sense. Or like Grand Buffet. Remember Grand Buffet?
Yeah.
We get that a lot.
Yeah.
Where like those guys were good, but they don't get talked about. Like they're legends in the wrong circle, you know.
Exactly. But then I learned over time, strict flow was going on European tours overseas, and doing all this big stuff.
Yeah.
While we're struggling trying to figure out how to get our CD distributed locally. And I don't know. I feel like there's a lot there to that discussion that hasn't really been like dove into enough. But now, like that was late 90s. So after all of that, now that the worlds are like somewhat combined, it's still kind of separate. It's still kind of leaning towards commercial rap, we'll say.
Yeah,
I would agree with that.
Yeah, and I feel like in the Shadow Lounge, especially towards the end, I feel like it was mixed, the most mixed I'd ever seen it. Yeah. So that was when we got in the scene. So then it's only gotten more separate, over that time, because you had a lot of like pop rap, like trying to be like Wiz and stuff, like rich kids coming from the suburbs making Wiz styled music, and then the hood stuff and the boom bap stuff, and you would see it all together, and then over time it separated, and now it's like different worlds. It's like the people don't exist to other people.
Everything is very siloed off, and not even just in like the hip hop side of things.
It's the same with everything.
As people who have explored both sides, like the rock side and the rap side, are like their own silos. And then even within each of those, there are smaller silos, just like what we were talking about, which kind of makes it difficult to cross those bridges, because there can be sort of like an adversity to doing so. Like philosophies don't always mesh.
Right.
That's the big
musical energies don't always mesh, which some of these things are natural things. Like you're not always going to agree with everybody on stuff, like period.
Right.
But it creates a division in the art that I think personally prevents the art scene as a whole here from being what it could be. Like it's not that every show has to be 2 rappers, 2 bands. Like should always have that mix where you have like just rock shows, just rap shows, just electronic shows, all of that. But there has to be a little bit more. We have to knock those down so then you can at least see like fans from A still going to shows of B, and then shows from C, and all over the place.
Right,
I think because then that puts everybody on everyone's radar, and then you can work together as a whole art scene, as a city, to be able to push out the people that are at whatever time or whatever, like the cream of the crop at that time.
I think even more than the sounds, and even like taking away rock, just rap, just talking about rap, is like sonically, I'll go to the rapping thing showcases that go on, and you'll hear like so many different styles, and it's like a hood based scene there. I would call that, and but then at the same time, the issue is like we book shows where it's four acts, 30-minute sets. They book shows where it's 15 acts, 10-minute sets. So and then we don't have any vocals on any of our songs. There's no backup vocals. It's all raw performance. That whole thing, everyone's singing to their own songs. Like they're lip syncing to their own songs, or they're using backup stuff. Like the culture's just different. And if that's what people like, then who am I to say you can't do that or whatever? I'm getting too old to police people. But it's a problem when you bring shows together and then it's like, our audience doesn't want to see people lip syncing to songs. Yeah. They want to hear them perform live, or vice versa. Or like we don't want to do 10-minute sets or whatever. We want to do longer sets. Or we got booked for one of those showcases to try to like network and reach out across that divide, and then we didn't even get to go on because the show there was too many acts, so they ran behind and the show ended. And it's just like do you get upset about how that show's run, or do you just like, you know, cut your losses and do your thing, or what have you? So it's a thing, and it kind of it takes time. I think it's going to take time to settle out of what is good. And like, there's the guys that do the Rap Cafe showcase in the South Side, and like they do it with the 4 acts and, you know, longer sets, and like I think they kind of have a balance between like our like more indie side of things and the more like traditional rap kind of stuff. And I think they're doing it right, and I think that's why it's successful. But I think that's what we need, is like to bridge those kind of gaps. I feel like a lot of people like Chevy or whatever, they're talking about like business standards or professional standards as a performer, and I think we do need to have those conversations. It's like we all have to get on the same page of like, what is the standard, you know? Because I think that everyone has their own little opinion about like, you need to audition to get on shows, or you got to do this to get on a show, or we all have different opinions. I think that's the problem.
You know, I feel like what would solidify it and just shut everybody up, if Mac Miller was still alive, and Mac Miller just came and, you know, hey, I'm gonna host an event and I'm gonna just talk to y'all. Fuck that shit, that don't matter. That shit don't matter. You should do this, you should do this. And people would take it damn near as law because he made it. Biggest independent in the world, damn near.
He's got millions of dollars.
And he's selling, Where I equivalate that to, like if BBGuns went on tour and, you know, had a European tour today in these times, and, you know, was on the Billboard charts, and something that had world notoriety that onlookers could pass around word of mouth. Because right now, my understanding is you guys are dope to your audience. If you could allow your dopeness to seep through to where people that are not in your audience can witness it and see it like from afar, then that's when the whole city of Pittsburgh is going to listen and say, holy shit, who are these guys? How did they get here? They came out of nowhere. No, they've been here the whole fucking time.
Yeah. No, that is how, we understand that is the trajectory now. Is once you get enough people outside, it'll eventually seep, like it'll just by osmosis, you start reaching regular people.
That's the difficult part, right? That I'm dealing with that right now with this podcast, where everyone messages me and they're like, yo, it's great, you're doing great things, it's wonderful. And I'm looking at the numbers and there's like hundreds of thousands of views on all the clips and stuff, but it's just little independent people like that I know that are talking to me. Outside of that, there's no viral feel, there's no nothing. You know what I mean? People still look at me like I don't know what I'm talking about and I'm not doing nothing. So I'm waiting for, I don't know, maybe it's a year, maybe it's 2 or 3 years from now, but that moment when everything starts to click and people, oh, hey, that's him, you know, and then it starts to make sense. When it becomes more of a household name, at that point, you know, when it's a household name, then I'm able to sell merchandise a lot easier to these people. I probably should be looking for a different demographic now to sell merchandise to. That would make sense.
It like finding your audience, and then like because even with indie artists, like there's indie artists that make a living off of their music and they're not household, like they're not mainstream, you know? So it's just really getting to that point of like, we've talked about it with this record, and like pretty much what the goal is, where we're trying to get is you get to that point where you put out our album, you do the press, you do everything, and then it still keeps going. Like people keep talking about it, it keeps word of mouthing, like. And I feel like that started to happen with this album, but like wasn't enough to like knock it open the door, but it didn't knock it, open, or didn't knock it over. So like that's what we're trying to kind of set up. We'll use this momentum to then, and all these new contacts and things to set up the next phase to kind of push past it. I think that we've talked about this before. I've used to have this fantasy that I'd go to bed and wake up with a million plays. Like, you know, like I'll check my plays before I go to bed, and then I wake up and there's thousands more. And it just because it went viral somehow. And it's like for an indie underground artist like us, like it's very much it feels like tortoise and hare. Like, you chase virality or do you build it and they will come? You know, kind of a thing. And I think we've realized that the building it and keep being consistent is more the lane that will get what we want.
And you guys, like, y'all don't do social media influencer stuff, right? Like, not that I've noticed anyways, unless you do. So like video skits and
No.
I'm posting on TikTok, these are my top 10 favorite this and that. And this
We like a
is
little more
day in the
mystery,
life.
you know, because like there's like mysterious artists and there's like accessible 24/7, like you're gonna know everything about my life stuff, and I don't think we have the time or the capacity to do that, and just like that's not us. I don't like that kind of content. I don't really watch it. I don't know if you do.
No, I don't want everybody all up in my shit all the time. Like, I'm not that interesting, like outside of like music and shit for people to probably want to know every detail of my life. But also, like, when I go ahead and I go home and I like take the rap hat off for a minute, like leave me alone for right now. Like, y'all don't need to know where I'm at, what I'm doing. Whenever you see it, you'll see it. Or if you catch me outside, you
And a
catch me
lot of people
outside.
we're a fan of don't really do that stuff. You know, like whether they're already so established they don't need to, or they're an underground artist and that's not the thing. Like they're not. It feels pandering. You know.
Yeah, I agree 1,000%. I'm not going to push back on it. My feeling is I'm right there with you, but I can't avoid it simply because I have this podcast where people are telling me, especially my partner, oh, you should post more and you should take videos of yourself. I don't like it at all. Like, I agree completely. When I go home, I want my private life to be my private life. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I have these conversations with people that are like, no, you have to post. If you want to be successful as a musician or podcast or whatever, you have to post. You have to show them your life. You have to do all of these things, you know, and expose yourself to the people. And I feel like you guys are proving them wrong.
Yeah, I feel like people that like they kind of they're compensating for maybe that what they're pushing isn't as good as they think it is. And like that's what somebody that's been doing it for a while, not somebody that's had a podcast for 6 months or whatever. Yeah. So that doesn't apply to you, but I think that's what other people. That's the thing. It's like they think like they have to do all this song and dance and to get the attention. And you need to like me as a person, then you like my music. Right. And it's like just like we're music, the art first. So it's either you like the art or you don't, and then that's it.
That makes sense. So like, what's your product? Is your product yourself or your music?
Exactly. Is it your art or is it yourself? That is the best way to put it.
I get it. Huh. So it sounds. The way you're articulating this, it sounds like you have your head wrapped around and you have like a grasp of what you are musically, what you want musically, and how you're going to get there. Mm-hmm. I think those three components, any combination of those three components is what most of the average local hip-hop artists are missing.
I would agree with that.
I agree with that.
I feel like there's like almost like maybe like a level of short-sightedness. Like you go ahead and it's just about I always think like chasing that virality, like trying to capture that lightning in a bottle, and then like not knowing what to do with that afterward. Yeah. Like a dog chasing a car almost. Like, so you have to have a vision for what your future, like the end goal looks like, and what like the steps are going to be. And that also comes from like, just like this podcast, you talk to people and garner an understanding of like what has worked for somebody, what doesn't, how you should move in certain spaces, how you shouldn't move, all that sort of stuff to kind of be like the North Star and inform you as to what your path is going to be moving forward. Right. I think that generally too, like trying to capture that lightning in a bottle and chasing that virality is the mind killer. Like you're going to end up driving yourself crazy trying to chase that million view or million play moment, where instead you could go ahead and plant your seeds. You could have a bunch of songs that have like 1,000, 2,000 plays on them. But the people that are going ahead and are giving you those are the same people that are going to be tapped in with you, like long term.
They're buying your stuff.
Yeah, like whenever you say
tickets.
Yeah, like whenever you're in their city, exactly. When you're in their city, they're going to go ahead and buy a ticket to your show and tell their homies about it. When you make new merch, they're going to buy a shirt. They're going to buy a record. Right. They're going to do all that, and that's how you can generate your income. And those how you can. Once you know who those people are, you can tap in with them. Then once you know where they are, that's you can take it to the next step, like what we do. Like going ahead and trying to get into those cities and into those places to bring the product to them live and direct, to go ahead and increase that footprint in those places in the macro, in the region that we're in.
Right.
We've had friends that have like viral, they get viral plays, they get tens of thousands of plays on stuff, or on YouTube videos and whatever, but then they don't have like the infrastructure to kind of capitalize on it and take it themselves to the next level. Like if we had that and with what we had, like it would be, I feel like, easy mode. So I think that's some people they want virality to be like a shortcut to the money or to the fame, right. But I've seen people achieve it, not know what to do with it, and then go right back to where they were. It's just, I think it depends on what kind of, like, what do you like? Like if you like content, well, TikTok style content, then like make it, but it's gonna help you. Right. But if you don't, then don't force it, because people are gonna know, and you're gonna compromise your own art and your own self to pander to somebody that's like gonna not even like it. Yeah. So like that, I think you just got to be true to yourself and what you're looking to get out of things.
Yeah, I think I'm. I don't know. I don't know if it's too much of a nerd, too neurodivergent. There's something in me that just doesn't like it at all. But.
And we've adapted the way we do reels and stuff. Like I used to never put text on any videos, but now because it does better with the algorithm, like I'll put a little phrase instead of putting it in the post. I'll put it on the video of like, some little tag that makes it sound snappy, and that has been helpful to us. But I feel like that was a level of compromise I didn't even know we were ready, like we were okay with, but like that was okay. So like you do need to know when you can, when you can make something an easy choice that doesn't sacrifice too much, that will give you a tangible benefit.
Or you can bend but not
break. Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
What do you guys think that you need or want that you don't have in terms of reaching that next level? Whatever that next level is for you.
Well, you go.
That's a good question.
I can answer if you're not.
You go ahead and start. I'm going to ponder.
I would say, just reach. I think getting eyes on our stuff. I'm at the point where I believe so much in what we do that if it's just a matter of getting eyes on it. Like if 1 billion eyes got on it, I think that we would get to the next level, of like an indie underground level. But I think it would. The people would find us, and we would be able to sustain ourselves from there. So like that's kind of our focus to the next, like obviously making good record, but then finding a way to get as many eyes on it as possible. So like we're in talk. I'm familiar with MF Grimm. He's MF Doom. He
used to work with MF Doom back in the day.
Yeah, he rapped and make beats. Late '90s. So he's been involved with the guy who runs our label, Darko. They did an album together. He produced it. And he called us and just told us he loves our record. Like he wants to find what he can do to help us executive produce whatever our next stuff. So like we've had multiple people like that reach out. Like we have opportunities we weren't getting before. Like it's just we are now in the right space finally. So it's just building on this and taking a hold of whatever we can. So I just think it's a matter of eyes. Like how many eyes and ears?
So time, basically.
Well, it could be instant if somehow everyone can see us at once. But
That's how virality works. Like just like you were saying, like you could very well put out a song one day and then some influencer liked it and used it in a video. Next thing you know, you wake up and there's 100,000 plays on some shit because that's just that's what virality is.
Yeah.
But I think it's just not counting on that virality.
Yeah,
like,
that's it. Yeah,
like it's not banking on that being what will make or break you. And I think JP really covered the bases. At this point, it's really just getting enough eyes and ears on it that even if, like, naturally everyone won't like it, but you get enough eyes and ears on it, you'll find the people.
Right.
Those people will come out of the woodwork and they'll listen to you and they'll tap in.
Right.
And you can continue to go ahead and move forward and figure more stuff out for like where you need to be,
right.
Who else you need to go ahead and get in contact with that has the access to certain resources or is willing to work with you to help go ahead and get to those next steps. And those are the sort of things that that are sort of irons in the fire already. So it's just capitalizing on these opportunities that we have and any opportunities that we continue to receive.
Because it's always too good to be true stuff. Anyone who's done indie music on any level, local or not, knows that you've been sold something that doesn't happen, or
Dream merchants.
The dream merchant stuff, where like Corey's always said that, where people are trying to sell you on a dream and like, oh, you're gonna make it, you're gonna do this, just pay me this money or whatever, or just do XYZ thing for me.
Yeah. How many times have we seen like a showcase where it's like, oh, so and so from Mac Miller or Wiz's crew will be in the building. So this is
Wiz's weed
so come on through, so because this could be your opportunity to get heard.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, it's like I've seen situations like that before, and it's like it'll be someone's fucking security guard whose cousin is the promoter, and they just show up late and they fuck off, and then you get nowhere off of it. So like, oh my man, the dream merchants are real.
Special invited guests was one trick they used to pull, which was basically they don't need to be there. You ask them to come, but whether or not they actually come doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And they would put it on a flyer, special invited guest, Jadakiss. Like
Yeah. But yeah, that's really, I think that's, if we keep going at it, I think it's a matter of time to get where we want to get, and like sustainable music career, maybe not mainstream, but
and the goal is just like to live off of music. Like,
that's always been the goal.
To live off of it, or at the very least, minimize how much time you have to put into a real job to be able to do the art and make more off of the art.
If we say there's a scale between, we'll just say, whatever your salaries, whatever your monthly or weekly pay is right now, if you could make that in music all the way up to being rock stars living in a castle like Ozzy.
Yeah.
At what point in there would be your happiest?
No.
Honestly, I can say for me, because like I said earlier, I'm very regular. Like I'm not that interesting. I don't really do much whenever except like go to work and take care of my son, do this music shit. Like that's quite literally my whole life. But if I could go ahead and get to a point where I can take care of everything that I need to take care of, be able to have the capability to support my son and my family in the capacities that I can without like putting myself in a hole, and still have a little something to play with at the end of the day, that's fine. And because I'm not really one for material stuff. Like I don't want cars. I've never been a car person. I've never been like into those sort of things. Mm-hmm. So like, as long as I can have what I need to be able to live and then a little extra to play around with and make sure my fam is taken care of, I'm cool.
JP?
It'd just be what I make. If I could make what I make now doing music, I would be the happiest man in the world.
Oh man.
I mean, I like any more is gravy, and I would take it. Like I would not shun it away. But yeah, that's just the dream. That's just the dream. It always has been. I think that's what, even though we're getting older, it's like we're still growing and we're doing better than we ever have, and it just like it feels like the dream is in some kind of reach, and when it is, it's like you can't stop. You can't. If this is your life's work, you know. And it feels wrong to not stop. If it got to a point where like diminishing returns and we're just doing it to do it, and like that's fine, but like we don't also need to go that hard if that's the case. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it is. That would be the dream.
I think I need to like nerd out and make my shit. Like that's probably my goal. Like. So at home, I have an electric lab, like electronics lab, like Raspberry Pis. And
like cool.
So I have a few different projects. One is I'm making my own 3D printer, and one is I'm making my own bandsaw. So
cool.
I do it like I invest and start pulling out credit cards and shit and buying parts to build it, all the designs and stuff. And then I kind of pause whenever it's, you need $300 in order to complete this part. All right, I'll wait a couple months, stack some money up. I probably want to get to the point to where I can buy the equipment I want, buy the parts that I need just to build my own personal shit. And once I get there, I'll be fine. Like as long as I can pay all my bills and do all my
support your hobbies, yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's my own thing.
I mean, yeah, that's definitely that'd be nice.
So, in addition to all of these other hobbies I have, I am also a Magic the Gathering player, which you had mentioned, JP, that that's y'all's thing as well. Mm-hmm. With the physical, how did you describe it before? The tabletop RPGs.
Tabletop games, yeah. RPGs, board games, card games. We've been into all that stuff forever. We got really into D&D over COVID. Like we were taking a break from music, and we played D&D like multiple times a week.
Nice.
And then we played other games, like smaller games, like this one Delta Green. It's like X-Files. We played that.
It's one of the best. I think that's the best tabletop RPG that I've played.
We played Deadlands. It's like a weird cowboy Wild West kind of game.
Are these like? So I've never played D&D before. I don't even know that I've played a tabletop RPG. The most I've gotten into is probably Magic. And I started that young. Like, I want to say I was 13 years old when I first started playing Magic. And I'm talking about, like, beta, I believe.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, this was, like, 93, 94.
Wow, you're on the ground floor.
Yeah.
That's impressive. That's cool.
Unfortunately, I threw away all my cards back then, but
I've had multiple collections go.
Same.
But how would you describe like the tabletop RPG games?
So it's like so one person is like the GM or the DM, the dungeon master. They're kind of like the referee and the storyteller, like kind of who's running the whole game. And then you have your players. And they'll make a character in this world, whether if it's a fantasy world, fantasy stuff, knights and things, or what have you. And then so your character could be like a wizard or a knight or a monk or what have you, just like in a video game. Mm-hmm. It's like Diablo or something like that.
Right.
But then when you actually play the game, it's all imagination, like you're talking about it. Like I'll tell you, you're in a tavern and you're meet with this guy who tells you have to go on this. He's like hiring you to go on this quest to, kill this bandit or something, and that's kind of where it starts. And then the players will ask questions with the guys hiring them, and they might get a drink at the bar, because you start role playing. Like, what would you do if you were that character?
So it's like you're making this up as you go?
I'll have the DM usually pre-writes stuff. Like they'll have the adventure, the plot points, but the players kind of ultimately decide what direction that they go in.
Like while you're sitting there playing,
so you have to be able to on the fly pivot. Like some guy says he wants to just walk this way down the street and ignore the quest. Then you kind of have to figure that out.
Really? So
It's like an open world video game. You
But
know,
like physical game.
But it's a physical game, yeah. And you roll dice for the numbers, like the math of the game. So like the stats and all that.
So you're like acting, kind of like role playing.
There's
Honestly,
acting in
yeah.
it for sure. Yeah.
Wow. Like I said, I've never played, but it sounds extremely interesting.
It's really fun.
It's very, very fun.
And like some people get into it and do voices and stuff, but most people don't. It's just like talking like you normally would talk. Like I go do this or you go do that. And like if you want to do something like I want to pick this lock, like you'll roll like a check. And if you pass it, you succeed. If you fail, then you fail. You know, if you don't get high enough, you fail.
And you can like make up your own storyline, just like, a meteor crashes on the Earth. I have super strength. Do I catch it and roll the dice whether or not I catch it?
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
So like
dope.
they'll usually most games have a setting, so it's like a world that they wrote, and like you can decide what the story that you want to tell in that world. You know, whether you can make it in the Game of Thrones world or Star Wars, or you can do it about anything really. And then you're just telling a story in that setting.
And which one did y'all say your favorite was?
My favorite is Delta Green. I thought that was probably the most like interesting one that I played, especially because your characters aren't like in D&D and in other ones sometimes, D&D specifically, sometimes your character almost feels more like a superhero than they do like a person.
Right.
So, but Delta Green is very like grounded in a certain level of reality, and then there's all of this like supernatural shit going on around you and the party. So you're like a regular person, and there's like meth head cultists sacrificing people in a swamp somewhere, and it's just like then you have to think about like as a regular person, if you got put in this situation and that's what you heard, you'd be like, what the fuck? And it just really puts you, it's nice to play something that's just more grounded in realism, and then has the extra like supernatural elements around it.
And that's tension because like you're a regular guy, so you could just get killed, you know, like because there's a lot of like it's X-File, Men in Black kind of stuff. So like you're a cop or you're a FBI agent or something, and so like you have training, but that's as far as it goes, and you're dealing with like ghosts or aliens or whatever. And so, like, it adds like a horror kind of scary almost element to it. Yeah. But what's cool about that game is it's based in the real world, modern world. So, like, I could be like, you guys go to this city and this building, and we could Google it and find the Google Maps of what it looks like of where they are. Or like they go to some government building, and we can look up the people that work there. Uses the names to talk or something like that. Like it gets really in depth if you want to make it like immersive. It kind of like feels like it's kind of like a murder mystery kind of thing almost too. Yeah. But yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Wow. Do y'all go to any what the hell's the name of that
conventions or?
Yeah, like the Phantom store used to have the like the Magic tournaments and stuff.
I've done tournaments. I've done many tournaments.
I haven't played like actual competitive like trading like TCGs since I was a kid. I played Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh a bit competitively, but I haven't done anything like that in a long time.
We would run like a monthly pauper thing in Magic, which is a format where it's only commons, and we would like have a gang of people that would play, and we'd all try to win. But there's a format in Magic now called Commander. It's been around for like 10 years or so, but it's like four players, free for all, and it's very fun and casual, and that's like the majority of the time we play is usually playing that.
I think I played that on a video game. I don't know if it was my phone, maybe PlayStation. One of those formats I played it on. I don't really like the new versions. Like there's a lot of new shit with it that's just weird. Like I went in the store to buy cars the other day and I seen this is like Assassin's Creed and like Ninja Turtles.
There's a lot of those crossover sort of things now.
It's dividing the fan base a bit. Some people hate it.
I don't like it. It's weird to me. Like there was something about the originality of like the artwork and the game itself that now there's like a feeling of nostalgia. Like all these, like to get a Force of Nature card, for example.
Yeah.
Where now it's like, don't do that. Like it gives me the same feeling as the first time I seen a mongoose in Walmart.
Okay. The bike.
BMX bikes.
Yeah.
It's like it's too much. It's watered down.
Yeah, I have like a hate-love relationship with some of the new stuff because I think it's cool to have some of those things because it's the sort of thing that kind of like lowers the barrier for entry for some people because there are like casual people that might have been on the periphery but like it seems like it's a little bit too like that maybe like the tone of it and some of the cards was a little off for them, stuff like that. But if you go ahead and you give them a deck and like Spider-Man is the main, the focal point of the deck. A gajillion people love fucking Spider-Man. You'll hook mad people in. Now, is it kind of like cash grabby? Absolutely it is. Yeah. But I do think it definitely helps more of like a newcomer have something to grab onto. But I also, because like, I started playing Magic in probably like 4th or 5th grade. So like I remember like some like watching the art evolution and like how cool some of those like old cards look. Yeah. And the fact that these were like real hand-drawn pieces of art made it even like more like mind-blowing and interesting. Exactly. But it just is what it is. It has its, like everything else, it has its positives and negatives.
Everyone I know that already played the game before this happened does not like them, but I've also met a good few people in this last year who said they started playing Magic because of some property that they liked got made into a set, whereas Final Fantasy or Marvel or whatever.
I'm a big Lord of the Rings guy, so whenever I saw that they did the Lord of the Rings set, I was
Lord of the Rings?
Yeah.
And they made Aragorn black too.
Okay.
I loved it.
I might have to check it out.
That was a good one. They did Fallout. They did Warhammer.
Street Fighter.
Are they reproducing the same cards with different characters, or do they have like brand new cards?
Brand new cards.
Some of them are brand new, but there's also some cards that are like dupes of something else, but they just themed it around.
They
like
did that at first, but they
character.
actually stopped doing it.
Oh, they don't do that anymore?
It's all original cards now.
Oh, well, then that's cool.
Are they doing the same with the like water, fire, like the elements and stuff?
Mm-hmm. Colors is all the same.
They did not add a color. So thankfully, they did not.
They didn't add a color or anything. The only thing that's different now is that Spider-Man is standing next to your Land War elf.
In the game, the cards are a lot stronger. If you played back in the day, they're pushed. Like there's like a wall of text on some of these cards. Like it's just like keywords after keyword after keyword. Yeah. So like I think that's what people think older players don't like is how strong everything is.
I don't like that. I don't like so what I remember, it'd be like a line or two of what the card actually does, and the rest would be like a storyline.
Yeah.
Now that whole paragraph area is like what the card does. Like, take 2 turns and do this and tap twice, and if this, then that. Like, this is too much in the middle of a game. I got to stop and study this fucking card.
Yeah, it's a thing. People do not like that either. I think it's a genie you can't put back in the bottle either, unfortunately. Because cards just they can only get more powerful. You know, if they get less powerful, people won't buy them.
So do you like set rules like when you play? Like, okay, you have to use the set like before this time period. And...
There are people that do that now. It's called there's a whole format called pre-modern, and it's only sets before 2010 or something like that. But I mean, not really. They're just like cards that that aren't appropriate for casual level play.
There's like cheating cards, right? Like,
yeah.
I can't think of the name of them, but there's like one card that's like whatever mana you have, tap it, and send like X amount of bombs at your opponent for every card in their graveyard or something. Like you get killed instantly with one. It's too much.
Yeah. No, it's crazy. It's crazy, but it's still fun. The game, the core game is still fun. Like we still play it every now and then. But it's changed a lot.
Nice. Yeah. Well, we'll have to play sometime, man. I have to hit y'all up, catch y'all when y'all free.
Hey, what it?
Hang out. I haven't played with friends in a while. I downloaded it on my phone. I do got a couple friends that play, but I don't know. For some reason, we just haven't. I downloaded it on my phone. And I downloaded it on my PlayStation. And then I definitely want to get into the tabletop RPGs.
It's fun, man.
Do it.
They're fun. It's addicting too, because it's like an experience that you won't really get anywhere else.
I don't play frequently on all of them anymore because of life and things, but I play on. I have a character on I think 3 other servers outside of the one that we have. I don't play all of them like consistently, but I love them. I think it's a lot of fun.
And that's the other thing. We were playing online a lot over Discord. So like we would use a client for like the map and like the tokens, but we would just talk over a voice chat with like a big group. But normally before that, everyone would play in person. Like you would have a map and minis and stuff like that. But I think that's what changed with COVID is like everyone started playing online, and that kind of made it a lot easier to get into. So you'd have to buy a bunch of stuff. Yeah,
Discord's a thing. I didn't even have a Discord. My dad's a big gamer. He plays Star Citizen.
Wow. That's a hardcore gamer.
And he's been in Star Citizen since it first started, like 15, 20 years, however long it's been.
Wow. Forever in development.
Yeah. So
is he upset about how things have turned out with that game?
He is he's their number one fan.
Oh, good.
He loves it.
That's good.
He so for editing and stuff like that, I had a computer with a 3080 Ti GPU in it, and
I think that's what I have.
3080. So it works pretty well for like rendering and stuff. And I told my dad like, oh yeah, I got this computer for video editing. He's like, oh man, you got to download Star Citizen, and he literally like forced me to download the game and download Discord. So now I have Discord and I play with my dad on Star Citizen.
Oh, that's great. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's dope. I don't like how glitchy it is, but
yeah.
It's definitely a thing. That and my game is Subnautica. Any type of sandbox type where you can create stuff, but like open world with a really good story. All of those like No Man's Sky. That was a really good
I fucked with No Man's Sky heavy for a little minute there.
Yeah.
It was I loved that it was all like procedurally generated, and even if you made new characters, you started on a new planet, you experienced new planets, everything. That game was really cool.
Yeah. That I would get into arguments with my dad because he would tell me, no, Star Citizen is the real procedurally generated game, kind of going back and forth with me and shit. I'm like, no, like they do the same thing. But yeah, No Man's Sky with have you tried it with VR?
No. I have not tried it with the VR.
You are missing out.
I don't really do the VR thing, man. My son does. Like he goes ahead and rocks with that with his friends and everything, but that's not really my bag, man.
Is there something with it? Like, does it make you dizzy, or are you just not interested?
It just never really like appealed to me personally to go ahead and like get the headset and do all that. Like I think it's cool. Like I think it's really cool.
Did you use it yourself?
The VR?
Yeah.
Yeah, because he got one and then he had like a couple of games and everything. He'd be like, oh, you should try it. And I'd be like, all right, cool. So I'd go ahead and do it, but it's just not my thing. It's cool, but it's just not my thing.
I got it.
I think I could be into it, but I can't. I had one of the ones, or the early ones with the phone. Like you put your Samsung thing into it.
Oh, yeah.
So I only had that, and that was cool. But like I wasn't going to shell whatever it was to get a Oculus or whatever.
See, my first entry was PSVR, the first one.
Yeah.
And once I had the PSVR, I realized it was only for PlayStation, so I tried all the other things. And then I tried on PSVR to get a bunch of different games to like get the full effect of it. What I realized is there are only a handful of games that are really, really dope with the VR, and everything else is just kind of like, whatever.
Like gimmick, yeah.
Yeah, where, everything's real boxy, just kind of looks computer generated. No Man's Sky, when you are in your ship,
It's amazing.
you feel like you're in your ship. Like the stick moves, the thing moves.
That's cool.
It's like
Space like actually moves around you and it's
when you're like in a fight against another ship too, and you're going around, like it makes you dizzy. It's crazy. That
That is not cool.
I'd give it a shot. I give it a shot because I enjoyed that game, so
Yeah.
I think it would be cool to go ahead and like be in the seat like that.
Yeah, that not even so much like being on the planet, but being for the main purpose of being on the ship and flying the ship. Yeah, fucking dope. Anything you guys wanted to touch on, speak on before we wrap up here? I feel like we covered everything.
Yeah, I feel like we talked a lot about. I'm trying to think if there's any other industry jewels to give. But no, I think, I mean, just because of the topic of, this podcast is like meant to help folks. And I mentioned it earlier, but when we came back into this, it's like, oh, we want to help people. We want to give people opportunities. We want to help, like, show people the things we wish we knew when we were their age. But God, it has been so difficult to do that without looking like we're better than people or we're talking down to people or just like they're in a different lane, so they don't think it applies to them, and they might not. But I just thought it would be more positively received, and it was just like people straight up stopped talking to us because we would like give advice or something like that, and they didn't want to hear it. And it's a bummer. It is a bummer. And so I'm glad that this exists, and I hope that it makes people more open to different stuff, because not everything's useful and not everything is for everybody, but I feel like it's all like you determining what works for you and what doesn't is a big part of the journey.
Yeah, and I think you guys touched on something that's really significant. I mean, obviously, in your path as you move towards success, a part of what you explained, you guys know who you are. Like, you established who you are, what your sound is, who your audience is. So, like, when I asked you about what do you need, like, to push you to where you want to be, your answer right after that is just more people. Where most, like, local or underground independent artists or whatever, I feel like they haven't figured that portion out yet, as far as like what is their sound, why are they doing it, what is their audience, that I kind of want to drive home and then even double down on what you said. I hope people are listening, because this is definitely a dope episode to me.
Oh, just any of them. Yeah, I mean, that's what sharing information and figuring out, a standard of doing business and performing is, it just lifts all boats.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Final question, both of you guys. Start with you, Jewel.
Okay.
Do you feel you're successful?
I feel that I am successful because I have been able to do all the things that I need to do to this point without having to like struggle too hard. Like, my son's good, I'm good, all my bills are paid, my rent is paid. He goes ahead and has food, a roof over his head, food in his stomach, shoes on his feet. Whenever I can go ahead and do extra stuff for him, I go ahead and do it. My family's good. My interpersonal relationships are good. So with all of those sort of things in mind, because that's what's important to me, yes, I feel like I'm successful, and it'll only garner more.
JP?
Same question. So you mean life or music?
Your interpretation.
So I will answer both. Life-wise, yes, I feel good. I think there were times in my 20s where I wasn't so sure, but yeah, I'm very, very pleased with where I'm at right now. Just had a like my first kid, and the hard to feel bad, when that's happening. But music-wise, I also would say it's like harder to answer a question because you always want more. You always think that you need more, but also we have to take time to recognize that like we do better than 90% of artists, and there were things that 10 years ago or 15 years ago or whatever that I would dream of, and like now we have them, and like once you get them, it doesn't feel as special, anymore. So like I feel like to the old me, the answer would be yes, but to like the current me, that if I'm not making money off of it, then it doesn't feel like I am successful. If I'm not making enough money for it to be my job, so I'm satisfied, but I'm always hungry for more, and I think that's the two halves of it.
So I've added this recently as a portion of my podcast. Figured I should probably just continue with it. But my perspective for both of you guys, for what I know about you as individuals, just from sitting here talking to you, my observation, and BBGuns, the brand, the music, all together, I would absolutely say you guys are successful. And that's just from my perspective, being, in the corporate world / hip hop world, and being the guy that likes to step back and kind of look at people and patterns and study social things, to hear y'all talk about family, like how you talk about your son, you talk about your kid and stuff, and your goals. You guys don't come across as like selfish. I don't feel any negative energy at all. This whole conversation to me felt extremely genuine with stand-up, mature guys, right? And the things that you've articulated in terms of your music, in terms of what makes you happy, what you're striving towards, like these are the types of people that just in general, good people want to be around. Should I say you two are the type of people, just in general, good people want to be around. So when it comes to networking, if someone hits me up, hey man, do you know anything about, the DIY? I don't know much about it, but I'm gonna send you over to my homies, JP and Joe, and they'll get you together. And that's literally, I don't know, I feel like that is extremely significant. So if you ever at any point in time feel like you're unsuccessful, because I know a lot of times we're unable to see our own milestones because we're chiseling away at ourselves, right, as we grow. So from the outside looking in, from my perspective at least, please understand that I respect and appreciate you both, and you are extremely successful in my eyes.
Well, thank you.
I appreciate that.
It always feels good.
A lot.
You hate to like do things for like external validation, because like if you're doing it for that, you're gonna be disappointed sometimes. But it does help fuel the tanks, and you're on the right path. You're doing the right things. Just keep at it.
Nice. Thank you very much, fellas.
Thank you,
Thank
my man.
you.
Appreciate
Thank you so
This
much.
was a good time. This was a good time. This was a very good
This is great.
conversation.
Yeah?
Very good.
Nice, man. I appreciate it. Well, you know what it is? It's my play cousins, BBGuns. Joe. We got Joe here. We got JP. You know what it is? I'm Kalaj Dame. We will see you next time.
Listen to Rust Belt.
Listen to Rust Belt.
Late nights, real talks, turn the noise down. Welcome to Kalaj Dame. City lights, long days, heavy on the mind. Everybody talking, but they never take the time. Truth in my chest, I don't sugarcoat pain. If you sitting at the table, you gotta show your face. Conversations deeper than the surface, we've been shown. Ain't here to sell a dream, just to show you no frames, just heart and time. If you listen close, you might change your mind. We don't argue just to win debates. We just shine a light where they hide the grave. It's the Kalaj Dame podcast, where the real don't gotta broadcast. Every truth gotta pass, every voice gotta lane. It's the Kalaj Dame podcast. Pull a seat, let the walls crack. If you ever felt unseen, you gon' feel your name. Yeah. From the block to the boardroom, same questions asked. Why we build so fast, we never heal the past. I don't play judge, I don't play your role. I just let you talk while the story unfolds. Bridging gaps, they pretend they there. Men and women trying to meet halfway, no filter. But respect stay intact. If it hit too close, that's a personal